Welcome to Wellness Quarters, where wellness lives. My name is Gayle Nowak, and I am your host, Wellness for All expert leader and communication and emotional wellness coach. The Wellness Universe is thrilled to bring you this inspiring interview series with our members as part of our Wellness for All program. We bring experiences like this to you because we believe happy, healthy, and healed humans lead to peace globally. Join us here on the second Tuesday of each month at 5 p.m. Eastern Time and the fourth Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time for a 15-minute session filled with insightful interviews and practical wellness tips from top professionals in the wellness universe. Whether you're seeking inspiration or actionable advice to enhance your well-being, Wellness Quarters is your go-to destination for support on your journey to a healthier, happier life. This Pay What You Can donation-based program is supported by generous viewers like you. If you'd like to donate, you can do that now, after we're done, or anytime in the future using the link that I'll post in the chat. And a special thanks to everyone who's already donated. At the end of the show, you'll see a pop-up to leave a rating and review, and we're so grateful for yours as it helps Wellness Quarters reach more people seeking tools and practices to optimize their well-being. Today, we're speaking with Elizabeth Kipp about the miracle of ancestral clearing. Elizabeth is a stress management and historical trauma specialist who uses trauma-trained and yoga-informed addiction recovery coaching, ancestral clearing, compassionate inquiry, and yoga to help people with their healing. Elizabeth healed from over 40 years of chronic pain, including anxiety, panic attacks, and addiction. Now in long-term recovery, she guides others to unleash their healing power, find freedom from suffering, and live a thriving life. She's the best-selling author of The Way Through Chronic Pain, Tools to Reclaim Your Healing Power. Welcome, Elizabeth.
Well, thank you so much, Gayle. Let's see. Thank you so much. It's great to see you.
And hey, there you are.
Yeah, it's my honor to be here with everyone.
Yeah, thank you for being here. So in your bio, we talk about how your journey involved overcoming chronic pain, and we were talking about that before the show started. Can you share your personal experience with ancestral clearing and any other tools that you've used to shape your healing process? What role? Particularly, I'm interested in hearing what role particularly that ancestral clearing has played, but anything else as far as tools that you've learned
Sure.
and used along.
Thank you. Yes, the chronic pain, just to get that cleared up, is any pain that's felt 15 days out of 30 for 3 months or more. So physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. The brain can't tell the difference between one kind of pain and the other. It all sends the same signal to the brain. It hurts. So a broken bone and a broken heart, same thing in the brain. It appears the same way in the brain. So grief is a chronic pain experience, just like a broken bone that won't heal is a chronic pain experience, which I had one of those. So I had a back injury that just wouldn't heal and wouldn't heal. The ancestral piece of that was interesting because I remember as a child, being like 4 years old and sitting in my living room and wondering, what was I doing in this family? I could feel the weight of I didn't really have the words for it at the time, but I felt the heaviness and the sadness and the it was very heavy. But and I in my family we didn't talk about things that were unpleasant, so there was nowhere for me to go with that. It was just an observation, and I felt it, and I didn't understand at the time that I was actually feeling my own burden of that. My part of that is as an unresolved trauma getting passed down through the lineage. I was actually feeling the part that it was passed to me, and not just my parents that I was feeling, but I was feeling my own. And I didn't understand until many, many years later, having gone through this long journey with chronic pain, and got into a pain management program. And we really worked on clearing the medication that I had been on for years that was not helping. We got that sorted out, and then we started looking at the root causes of the pain, which didn't start with the back fracture. It didn't start with that. It started before that, which I never recognized because that's not how we did things in our family. Anything that was unpleasant, we didn't talk about it. Right. So what do you do with that as a child? Right. Anyway.
Right.
So in this pain management program, there was John Newton was a wellness professional, and he brought in Ancestral Clearing. That's actually a registered trademark process that he uses, that Howard Wills pioneered it, and John further developed it and teaches it. And I experienced it, and I felt the effect of it, not just for me, but I felt it in the room. I was in a room with 20 other people that were pretty much like, maybe not 40 years of chronic pain, but maybe 5 or 10 years of chronic pain. So a pattern, right? And we all were experiencing, less pain as a result of the process. And I have this science background, and I'm not sure that was in my bio, but I have a degree in plant science. And so I get into a new space, and I kind of automatically, because of my training, my science hat goes on, and I'm like, what's happening here? Is it measurable? Can we repeat it? What's the mechanism? I go into all that, and I did that in this, and I'm still, I think epigenetics explains the mechanism pretty well. Which is the unresolved trauma gets passed down in the lineage based on the environment that one generation has versus and the next generation and the next generation, and we can change. Thank goodness, epigenetics tells us that that part of us we can change if we change our environment. And ancestral clearing is a way that we can actually shift our environment. Also, the emotional resilience work that you do, epigenetic work, you're working on an epigenetic level. And for people that don't know what that word is, if you imagine that you have a computer and the hardware on it is the actual hardware, and then the programming that you put on top of it, that's the epigenetics. The hardware is the genetics. The software is the programming, so you can change the program, and then you change how the computer operates.
I love the computer analogy, because I feel like that's something that that everybody can kind of wrap their head around. It makes so much sense, right? We talk about, especially in this community, we talk about programming a lot, right? And that's always something that can be upgraded, right? Even in our computers, our actual computers, we upgrade our software. We can upgrade our own, emotional, spiritual, physical software. So I think that that's a beautiful explanation of how trauma gets passed down and what we can actually do about it. In promoting the show last week, I don't know if you saw this, but on social media, there was some conversation about this episode, and a couple of commenters made an interesting observation that many people don't recognize their own patterns, let alone their ancestral patterns. What can you share about that?
I'll share this. Everybody's doing the best they can with the information they have at hand and the consciousness they have at the time. And so there's that kind of general operating principle. I can see my own stuff if I'm willing to look at it, and I have the tools that grow my awareness. Some of those tools that I use are mindfulness and yoga. Other tools are working with other practitioners, because other people can see my stuff that I can't, my blind spots, right? So we work. Right. It's important for us to work with one another help each other with the things that are stuck energy that we're trying to release. So no, we can't see our own patterns sometimes, and sometimes we can't. I was just working with a group today on healing from recovery, healing from addiction recovery. I work in that space, and one of the things that the big teaching today was, we cannot release our suffering if we're still clinging to our desire to release our pain. So if I'm trying to get rid of the pain, that's my desire, I'm still hanging on to it. That's a profound teaching, right?
That is a profound teaching. Yeah.
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 So that pattern of clinging to my desire to not have pain anymore, that's a pattern in me that is so subtle and so baked in the cake because it's so old that I had to hear that and I had to before in order to actually become aware. Another thing that was interesting to me was in that pain management group, the doctor said right in the beginning, and it freaked me out. He said, "What are you doing to contribute to your pain?" And it upset me because I was like, well, it's doing it to me. I went immediately into victim mode because that's the way I perceived it. But I kind of did a double take and said, wait a minute, he just asked this important question. What am I doing to contribute to my pain? The assumption in there is that I might actually have some power in this equation.
Right.
And he got my attention.
Yeah.
Because it was all of a sudden he took me from victimhood to empowerment with one question.
Yeah.
So he understood he helped me find a pattern that I had, and I didn't even know I had it.
That's, you're working with somebody who's able to really get you kind of out of the pattern, right? Maybe triggering a little bit, but at the same time, moving the energy from, one or two spaces elevated from where you're at, right?
Mm-hmm.
It reminds me, there's a similar exercise that I do with clients where it's having a look at whatever it is, the don't like situation, right? Having a look at that and making a list of all the ways that you're benefiting from it, in addition to all the ways that it's costing you, right?
Exactly.
So it kind of reminds me of that. And bravo for you for also catching yourself and being like, yes, and like, yes, this is something that I'm experiencing, and what can I do? What's my responsibility?
Thank you. I think that was the gift of desperation at that point, because I was, I'll try anything.
Right. So I know you're prepared to provide a clearing experience today. So can you lead us through that right now?
Sure. There's about 30 different ways we can get at the burden, and this is one I can share in this particular format. We use the word forgive to mean offering up that which no longer serves us, and we offer it up to Creator, God, whatever you want to call whatever made all of this. And so this is a prayer-based practice, but it's not religious. It's purely spiritual. So if everyone listening, if you could just notice what sensation you're feeling in your body, and notice kind of the number from 0 to 10. Like I feel my sitting bones on the chair and my feet on the floor, and I feel a little bit of something on my right cheek. And I give all that a number of about 2.5 out of 10, just as an example. So notice what that is for you, and just let these words pass over you. Creator, source of all that is, We thank you for the gifts and challenges of our lives. We ask humbly and gratefully for us and all of our relationships and all of our ancestors and all of their relationships throughout all space, time, dimension, realms, and lifetimes. For all the times we were abandoned, not supported, nurtured, cherished, and loved in the ways that we needed. And for the times we weren't able to do this for others. For the times we didn't feel safe, and for the times we weren't able to provide safe harbor for others. Please help us all to forgive one another and forgive ourselves, please, and thank you. For the burden any of us carried as unresolved trauma passed down from previous generations, and for the effects of adversity and hardship we saw, especially as children. For all unhealthy attachments and codependence, for the times we lost track of our true self altogether. For all unfinished business and how it weighed on the lineage. Please help us all to forgive one another and forgive ourselves for the highest good, always and in all ways. Please and thank you. For all war, Holocaust, persecution, hegemony, slavery, oppression, injustice of any kind, betrayal and misuse of power, physically, legally, sexually, medically, spiritually, or in any other way. Please help us all forgive and release one another and forgive and release ourselves. Please and thank you. For the push-pull of family loyalty conflicts and any associated guilt, for all that led up to and arose from this. For differing values and beliefs within the family about marriage, religions, education, politics, or how to handle health issues. For all suicide, incest, murder, rape, abortion, infidelity, and miscarriage. For all that led up to and arose from these and all we made it mean about them, about us, about life, and about you, Creator. For the effects of conflicting DNA. For any time we felt the pressure to meet family expectations in our careers, relationships, or any other areas of our lives. Please help us all forgive each other and forgive ourselves and forgive everyone involved directly or indirectly, please and thank you. For all family misunderstandings, conflicts, projections, for squabbles, fights, grudges, resentments, feuds, or vendettas. Everything that led up to and arose from these experiences and their effects. For any time anyone had to go against their gut feeling, especially in war, and how that affected them and their relationships. Please help us and everyone involved in any way to forgive one another and forgive ourselves, please and thank you. For any time anyone was or felt dismissed, disregarded, left out, or excluded for fear of crowds or social anxiety, for all that led to overwhelm and its effects, for all avoidance patterns, addiction, physical and emotional abuse, shame, guilt, and stigma around mental health challenges, power struggles within the family, any financial stress, any difficulty balancing the giving and receiving in life. Please help us all to forgive one another and forgive ourselves, please and thank you. For anything that led up to feelings of low self-esteem and self-worth, for the times we felt we weren't enough for each other, for ourselves, didn't feel up to the task of life itself, and felt we weren't enough for you, Creator. Please help us all to forgive each other and forgive ourselves, please and thank you. For when we heard our heart beckon us to go a certain way and we turned a deaf ear or a blind eye and turned away from this inner knowing and all that arose from it because of it in our lives and in the lives of others, please help us forgive each other and forgive ourselves no matter what. Please and thank you. Please help us find our way with your guidance to forgive all that happened to us, through us, or because of us, and help others forgive us the same. Help us feel your loving embrace, pass your love on to others through us, and help us all love ourselves as you love us always and forever. May we feel your grace fill us, and may we always and forever feel filled with your grace. Help us find peace, ease, and contentment with each other and ourselves now and forever. Please and thank you. Please and thank you. Please and thank you. Take a nice big breath in and let it out, and just notice how that feels in the body.
Beautiful. Jeanette says, beautiful prayer.
Thank you, Jeanette.
Thank you. Yeah. Wow.
Hmm.
That's powerful.
It's a powerful practice. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I feel it.
Yeah.
And this came, it's not the first time I've worked with this prayer. So that's
Right.
kind of cool because the replay, can still work with the replay. It's just as powerful as the live. So it's kind of fun.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Thank you for leading us through that. And I can't wait to catch it more so on the replay so that I can be fully there and not be
Mhm.
doing the hosting duties. But that was beautiful. And I love how comprehensive it is as well.
Mhm.
So for those who want to learn more about you, Elizabeth, and your work, and they want to connect with you, what's the best way to do that?
Oh, you can find me through my website, which is Elizabeth with a hyphen Kipp.com, which I put here in the chat. You have to put the hyphen in there between my first and last name to find me. Otherwise, you'll find the other Elizabeth Kipp, who's a photographer and a web designer. And she's amazing, but she's not stress management. So all my social media is there. There are ancestral clearing prayers. There's all kinds of free resources up on the site. And you can contact me there.
Beautiful. Okay, so I'm not seeing it in the chat. I don't know if you hit the
Oh,
little arrow. I
okay.
do that all the time. I think that I put it in there and
I may have put it in and then, but you came in after. Does it work like that? Like it does on
oh,
Zoom?
that's a possibility. And I just wanted to say hi to Jeanette and Oda. Thank you for joining us live today. And I just want to make sure. Oh, there it is. It came up. All right, beautiful. So Elizabeth, thank you so much for sharing time and space and energy and this beautiful clearing with us this evening. Thanks to everyone joining us live, watching the replay. So we are taking a short break to celebrate the holidays later this month, but we will be back in January. We'd love to see you for our next show on Tuesday, January 7th at 5 p.m. Eastern Time with Carol Pilkington. Sorry, Carol, I got tied there. And our conversation about how astrology can guide you. Until then, be well, everyone.